A very good evening and welcome to round 4 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. We are bringing you on-track action from Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia with Formula Hybrid Cars 2017.
It's going to be a very fun one tonight, Giles. I tell you what, as to paraphrase that legendary commentator Murray Walker, with half the season done, there's still another half to go, and we're very excited for it. The students are exposed to their fastest cars of the season in what we call a mixed bag series. They'll be driving all sorts of different cars, different tracks. These are the fastest ones, definitely. So a lot of action, a lot of calamity, but I tell you what, they've been really practicing hard.
They have been practicing hard indeed. I've been looking at the lap times coming through from the practice servers over the course of the week. A lot of teams to keep an eye on, the usual favourites over the course of this series so far. You're looking at your old favourites. You've got Hull, you've got Cardiff, you've got Southampton, you've got Bolton, you've got UE. It's all on track today. We've got something a bit different for you today compared to the usual, because do remember, these are all students getting involved and it is deadline season. So with that in mind, not everyone has been able to join us this event, but that's not a problem at all. We'll explain what we're doing with that very shortly. But first and foremost, these lap times coming through are something to behold, and some of these teams seem to have adopted a glory lap approach, which is a term I wasn't familiar with until today. But James, would you be able to enlighten us as to what a glory lap is?
Yeah, so a glory lap is essentially a qualifying lap. Won't make a lot of sense to you guys, but on the practice server, what the students have been having to do for the last 2 weeks is go in there and prove to us that they're competent, and then basically not going to embarrass themselves tonight. This is after last year. There was an incident you guys may remember last season with the green Lamborghini, where they kept on spinning off every 3 laps and just caused absolute calamity. So we have a 107% rule in place. Drivers have to be able to lap within that consistently for 5 laps to demonstrate that they're able to hack these combinations we're going to. Which, whilst it was great, every driver was able to do that. Once they had ticked the box of the 107% rule, they decided then to stick on the soft tyres, whack up the ERS in these cars, max power, and see how much faster they could do. And they ended up dropping the 107% rule by another 2 seconds, which ended up meaning half the drivers weren't in the race, and we went, oh god, no, this isn't good. So yeah, we've had to take a bit of a softer approach because some people are just being a little bit too fast this weekend.
The Fast and the Furious, live from Sepang in Malaysia. I'm really excited to be racing here. I think this is my favourite circuit that we've had in this series so far. We'll be able to talk you through the circuit very shortly. I'm going to open with my prediction for the race, and I will say this. For the first 2 corners, I reckon, absolute carnage on the way. You can let us know what you think. You can tag us on social media, and you can drop a comment on the YouTube live stream. Cheer on your favourite teams. Tell us how we're doing. I'm Giles Cosgrove, and he's James Montgomery. We will be your commentary team this evening. I'm sorry, Martin Brundle wasn't available. Anyway, let's talk about how many cars we're going to have on track this event, because it's a little bit different to what we usually have.
Yep, no, so because it's exam season, unfortunately a lot of teams are not able to join us tonight. So we are doing something a little bit different. We haven't got enough cars to make a top tier and bottom tier server. But as we still have 23 cars, we've merged them together, which means we're going to have an even busier grid to have a look at tonight now, Giles. So more action, more calamity. By the way, my bet, I'm going to reckon someone's going to spin it off on the start-finish line. It's 1,000 horsepower underneath their right foot tonight, so I'm looking forward to this.
Do we reckon we could get some stalling off the line as well?
Anything is possible, and it usually does happen in Formula Student, doesn't it?
Yes, anything does and can happen. More to the point, we're racing Formula Hybrid cars from 2017. They might look a little familiar to those of you that are motorsport fans, particularly those of you that like watching circuit racing on a Sunday afternoon in Europe. We can't actually say the exact name, but you'll know exactly what I'm on about. A big thank you to our mods who are able to generate these cars for us. Keep an eye on the rear wing. They are DRS enabled, which is very exciting to see. And also, interestingly enough, I do wonder whether we could get some vintage style Formula cars in a future event. I'd love to see something from the late 80s, you know, Prost, Senna, Moustache Man. I've forgotten his name. That's
Nigel
appalling. That's
Mansell.
appalling.
Nigel
Thank you.
Mansell, yes, no, that would be great if we could get them on. That would be absolutely fantastic for that one. Just to let you know, by the way, Giles, I forgot to tell you before, we have disabled DRS for this weekend's races, just because, again, calamities and entertainment. I want everyone to be thoroughly entertained tonight, but we've also only got so much oxygen that we can breathe in a certain minute, so I don't think we'd be able to keep up with things. So to give everyone a fighting chance tonight, we can do that.
On-track conditions then, James. Let's talk us through what the drivers will be experiencing today out on track. What is the grip going to be like? What's the temperature going to be like? How are the cars going to be dealing with this Asian heat?
Just before I answer that, so I just want to make sure that everyone at home can see we've now got some live stream footage coming through. The warm-up server is live. The grids are going to be formed in about 90 seconds time. Giles, are you able to see anything on your side?
We are on board at the moment with what I believe is the University of Bolton coming down one of the straights on the Sepang International Circuit.
Yep, correct. So that's our championship leaders just now. Bolton, we're riding on board with, about to start their last lap. As you can see, free practice is about to finish at the top there in a minute's time. Yeah, we're going to have 23 cars. That should be really great to see. Guys, do let us know what the sound balance sounds like, if you can hear myself and Giles as well as the Assetto, the game itself. Though, going back to your question now, Giles, so it's hot, it's humid, as you would expect in Malaysia, guys. It's currently 9 AM at the track, and it's already 26 degrees Celsius. Track temperatures already in the 30s. As the morning progresses and the races progresses, we expect those temperatures to climb. So whilst the drivers may not feel the humidity and the heat, because obviously, maybe they will, because computers do generate a fair bit of heat nowadays, don't they? But certainly their virtual tyres will be feeling the pain today. And I have to tell you, most of the fields have gone for their softest compound for this round. So,
will they last the duration is the question. Very much looking forward to finding out the answer to that. In the comments, we've already had a request for a shout-out. So, shout-out for Caroline. A big shout-out to her. There's also a question, do we have the live timings for today, James? Are they available anywhere?
Indeed. I'm just about to go and stick them in the comms now. There you go, guys. So there's the live timings. If you want to follow through, click on that link. You'll see a nice little map come up with all the drivers on there. And yeah, 23 cars today, so this should be thoroughly entertaining. Giles, who's your money on?
My money is... I'd like my money to be on Aaron Farmer from Cardiff University, and I admit that is a little biased, my being from Cardiff University, but I think I would have said that even if I wasn't, given how he timed in free practice earlier this week, coming out on the top of the timing sheet.
No, you're quite right.
So I reckon he is one to watch, but I don't believe he's qualified in pole.
He has not, but he is somewhere in the top 4, so he's definitely with a fighting chance. So it would be interesting to see what happens. We've got the usual championship protagonists up at the front. A couple of surprises as well. Apparently, we haven't seen the official qualifying results yet, but there's a rumour that University of Strathclyde are driving really well this weekend. So perhaps we'll get to see that
exciting.
A titanic Glaswegian battle once again. The old firm of the universities, if you may. Just rather than it being a Rangers and Celtic, it's Strathclyde and Glasgow. So I'm sure we'll be looking forward to that one as well.
And fingers crossed, I actually recognise it is Strathclyde rather than keep calling them Southampton. I see USM, S&M next to each other for some reason. Southampton to me, but no, USM is Strathclyde. You better see it on the timings board on the left of your screen. Trying to keep up with all of that is like trying to juggle knives, but we're going to give it a go. Free practice is coming to an end, so we're looking to get really exciting and go racing here in Sepang. I am really excited for this one. I think we're going to get some absolutely cracking racing, possibly some of the best racing we have had all series.
Yep, I think so. It's definitely going to be the most challenging one for the students, whatever happens. You would have seen earlier the series, guys. They've been driving MX-5s, they've been driving low-powered single-seaters. They have 1,000 horsepower behind them tonight, so this is going to be really great fun to watch. Incidentally, the mod that we are using tonight, so it's called Formula Hybrid 2017. It is created by the Real Sim Studio. We have embedded the link to this mod within the description of the stream, so if you have Assetto Corsa and you want to give this one a try yourself, go and show them some love, because they create some brilliant content for Assetto Corsa, and we are very happy to be using them for our series tonight, because this is really, really good quality mods.
Elsewhere in the comments, we've got another shout out. This one from Mimi. Mimi says, "Can we get a big happy birthday for our technician Stevie? It is his birthday today, and he is a legend." Well, happy birthday, Stevie, from all of us here at FS Sim Racing.
Well, here we go. So we've got a 4-minute countdown now before the lights go out, Giles. So it looks like we have Glasgow on pole, Southampton second, Strathclyde, there they are in third, with the University of West England fourth, Wolverhampton fifth, UWTSD in sixth. Where's Glasgow? Oh, sorry, they're on pole.
Where is Glasgow?
They're on pole. Oh, God, I'm so sorry, guys. There's my Murrayism already. We've got that one out of the way. However, as we've got a couple of minutes to go before the race begins,
yes,
shall we show them what the championship standings look like as we enter round 4?
As long as we don't miss lights out, let's do it.
Absolutely. We've got about 3 minutes, I reckon, so I'm keeping an eye on one screen for the grid just to see what's happening, but just at the moment, they're literally standing there looking cute. Right, guys, on your screen is the championship standings as we enter this race. So currently, Bolton are leading on 259 points. They are 15 points ahead of Southampton in second. Glasgow third, 236, and Wolverhampton on fourth on 223. University Hull making up the top 5 there on 201 points. Salford, unfortunately, not with us this evening, but they are currently 6th in the standings. Trinity St David in 7th, West of England 8th, Coventry also not with us this evening in 9th, Strathclyde 10th, Obuda, another our Hungarian university not with us tonight, Cardiff, Stavanger, University of Leon in 14th, University of Basel, as we call them, Vitoria in 15th, TU Ilamanu, the German university, in 16th, Cambridge A in 17th, Portsmouth Alumni in 18th, Kingston in 19th, and the University of Oxford rounding out the top 20. Just a kind reminder though, we do have 46 universities signed up for the championship, so here are the remaining universities on your screen now to see how they are making up the remainder of the championship. Not to worry too much if they've missed tonight's race though, because it's the best 7 of 8 rounds which will count towards your final championship standing, and you'll be seeing from the next race onwards, our university students have been doing some side challenges in between the races to earn some bonus points. Can't talk much about it just yet, but as a little teaser, we'll be talking about that from round 5 onwards, hopefully, because these championship standings, basically an extra bonus 15 points here and there, given how tight it is in the top 3, can make all the difference between who is our champion for come the end of the season. Can Southampton retain the championship? They are last season's champion. They're currently second. But you've got to fancy Bolton and Glasgow, the newcomers in this season. Glasgow, they've done a cracking job, haven't they, Giles?
They have been absolutely incredible. They are on pole for this race now. I'm looking at them on the start line whilst James has been talking through the standings at the moment, and it's giving me Jordan vibes. If you remember that Jordan team from back in the early noughties and late 90s in Formula 1, UGR's livery right now on the start line, giving me massive Jordan energy. In second place, it is Southampton on the grid, and then you've also got USM there in third.
Yep.
Strathclyde, I will remember that one day, but clearly today isn't that day. In fourth, it is UE. Wolverhampton are in fifth, and we got the lights out then. Let's go racing here in Sepang for round 4 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series. On board then with your pole sitter Glasgow. Lights out, and away we go off the start line. Foot to the floor. Great start for Glasgow. Even better start for Southampton. All over Glasgow's rear end. Trying to fight, diving for the inside. They've got the best line there. Can they take advantage of that? Into that right-hand corner, but immediately it's into a left. There's got a chicane. Fantastic stuff. Southampton immediately into the lead, beating Glasgow then straight off the line. UE up into third. In fourth is Wolverhampton. University of Wales, Trinity St David getting swamped by Strathclyde, who've got back up into fifth. I think they dropped away for a while, but Southampton have taken the lead outright in the first lap. Glasgow attempting to find a way past and get back at them, but immediately that's already a half a second gap between the front runners and the second place car. An amazing start for Southampton. Glasgow will be gutted about that. In third, it's Uwe. In fourth, it is Strathclyde, back up into the position I think they started in then. So Southampton, where did they come from then? They absolutely owned that start, going for the inside line immediately, out-accelerating the pole sitters, Glasgow, who were just completely caught off guard. Meanwhile, Hull are back down in 10th, and then we're on board with them right now. Up ahead of them is Bolton. What happened to Bolton then?
To be honest, I don't think I actually worked out where Bolton had qualified, so they could be around this position to have started with Giles. But I have to say, Hull, really relatively bad start from them, but they are on the hard compound tyres, so we were expecting them to struggle on this first lap. It'll be interesting to see over the course of this 25-minute race if they come into play later on, given how high the temperatures are today.
Yes, indeed. There's an 8.5 second gap between Hull and your pole sitters at the moment. Southampton, who are under pressure from Glasgow, locking up there as they try to maintain the lead that they got off the start in this first lap. Glasgow knocking the gap down to 0.2 of a second as I have it on the timing board on your screens there. Fantastic racing from these two drivers. Glasgow unrelenting in their pursuit of the lead, which they did not wish to relinquish, but hats off to Southampton for an absolutely outstanding start from them. But do remember, a lot of these drivers are on the soft compound. We've got 22.5 minutes of racing to go. When the tyres do go away, look to Hull, who are on the harder compound, to begin to reel in the front runners. On board now with the University of Glasgow as they attempt to take first place from Southampton.
Tell you, Giles, what else has impressed me? Look at what these top two have done. They're already 4.5 seconds ahead of third position, and the field is already spread by 30 seconds after just a lap and a half. I tell you what, it's going to be a race full of calamity. And just look at the timing board. There's a lot obviously going on in the mid-pack just now.
What on earth has happened to Hull? Hull have dropped way down the running there, as have the University of Wolverhampton. Hull just dropping down. Wolverhampton and Hull battling it out. They're on at the moment with Lausanne as they spin away there. Whoops-a-daisy from the University of Lausanne. Absolute drama throughout the pack then.
I don't actually know where to look at the moment. It's just calamity everywhere.
I don't either. We're on board with Ion at the minute.
Championship leader Bolton right behind, going for a move down the inside. Can they make it stick? No! Oh no! There we go. Dear, oh dear. Contact. Bolton into the back of Lausanne.
Dearie me.
Into the back of Ion and taking out UCO in the same instance there. Well, that's one way of making up two places. I'm not sure if the other two teams will see it that way.
That.
Yeah, I don't know if the other two teams will see it that way, will they, Giles? But
they might not at all. But University of Stavanger have also made up places as a result of the drama through that corner there. On board with them, University of Stavanger. This, meanwhile, is University College London doing rather well for themselves. They're in 8th position at the minute, looking demonic in black, accented with the red there. Up ahead of them is, of course, the University of Stavanger. There's a gap of about 6.6 of a second. Oh, and they're closing that gap, outbreaking the team there from Stavanger. Brilliant stuff in the University of College London. Can they find a way round? The gap opening up yet again. Stavanger versus University of College London for 7th position on the grid.
Now, it's probably worth noting, because we're in such fast cars for this round, guys, that these extreme differences you're seeing in the gaps is exaggerated because of how quick the cars are. The reality is this gap is still about half a second. It's just because we're doing 200 mile an hour, it looks an eternity away. And as you see, as they hit the brakes, really close up on the car.
Close right up.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it really does exaggerate that element of speed. So it's going to be very fast paced for both races tonight, I suspect.
Indeed, heading down the start-finish straight. Round the hairpin, meanwhile, this is Hull and VIT. VIT's a new one. Who are VIT? I can tell you that right now.
It is
Basque Country.
Yes, Basque Country Victoria. They've missed the last couple of rounds. It's great to see them back again because they were fantastic racers. We loved watching what they did last year at round 8. And they're definitely up for a fight here. Look at them battling with the championship protagonist, Hull. It's only for 14th position, but they're keeping them honest, which is great to see.
Hull clawing back positions as they go. Not a great start from Hull, but they've been doing so well in this season that undoubtedly they won't finish in 14th. They ought to finish higher, and if they don't, there will have been some drama going on there. But do bear in mind, these cars are very, very difficult to master. They are, as we were saying earlier, the hardest car that the students will have to race in this series. I certainly couldn't do it. Those that can do, and those that can't talk about it. Why do you think I'm here? Anyway, you look on board with Hull as Vittoria hunt them down. Meanwhile, Cardiff, it's Kyle Benson driving for Cardiff there in 17th, with Manchester lurking in the background like a purple shadow. Elsewhere, Kingston making up a heck of a lot of positions up here.
It looks like someone's fallen off.
Dear.
This is the University of Aberdeen just coming back onto the track. They were in 10th position, so that's them dropped down 5 positions. That's a shame. They were looking on for some good points, weren't they?
That's the first time I've actually really had to talk about the University of Aberdeen all series, so that is gutting for them. Hopefully that won't be the last we see of them. They're down in 15th now. Victoria, Hull and the Portsmouth alumni driving well on past. Kingston in 11th, Sheffield in 10th, Le Sonde in 9th. That makes up your mid-pack. Elsewhere up ahead, Southampton have completed 4 laps, and there's a 0.2 of a second gap between them and Glasgow. Meanwhile,
sounds like a good excuse to go and watch them then, Giles.
But I think it is. Here we go then. Tight left-hander locking up a little bit in the rear there as Glasgow are hunting down that position that they have yet to make back from the start. Southampton had that amazing start, as we saw, going wide there for Glasgow. Or was that just a different racing line? I'm not sure, but it looks to me like that was a wide because Southampton have gone away.
Yeah, I think
the
that
gap
was a drive
just seems to
error
be
there.
fluctuating, but it does look like driver error because the gap is now a second. It was 0.3. Glasgow will be kicking themselves. I wouldn't recommend it. They have to take their foot off the pedal. But anyway, what can Glasgow do in the next 17 minutes? Because this is what it's going to be. It is going to be that all the way through the rest of the race, because I don't think Yui and the rest of the pack are going to be able to catch them up.
Nope,
on board now.
They're streaking away from the rest of the pack there, but it's great to see the quality of racing between everyone here. Everyone's been talking about how much they were struggling with the power here, so I was a little worried there was going to be a lot of crashes. Apart from half spins, we seem to be off to a good start so far, Giles, and some cracking battles already through the field.
The first lap drama I was expecting didn't come to fruition. You're on board with the University of Stavanger as Le Sonde chased them down for 8th position. Up ahead, it's the University College London. Let's see what can happen there. The gap between Stavanger, oh dear, a bit of a lock-up there, inviting Le Sonde to make a move, closing the gap between the two cars there. Remember, this is a really fantastic circuit. I love this circuit so much. It's fantastic. Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. Stavanger closing up the gap to the University College London, which is great for them in one respect, but in the other, Le Sonde are going to catch up as UCL slow them down, and you're going to end up in the middle of a sandwich. We've seen this before in this series, where the slower car up ahead will lead the other. Oh, hang on a minute.
Nice.
I say that.
All the way around the outside.
I say all of that. There's no sandwich at all. They're looking 3 abreast at a minute, but that's fantastic stuff from Stavanger as they get past the slower car of UCL. Le Sonde now battling it out. The 3 fighting it out for 7th position.
We've lost one.
Stavanger
Le Sonde
making
spun
it
off.
stick.
Le Sonde spun
Le
off.
Sonde have gone. Le Sonde have gone. Gutting for them. UCL live on to fight another day, but to be fair, it looked to me like Le Sonde were the faster car, maybe just hanging it on the edge just a little bit too much. Meanwhile, up ahead, Southampton and UGR are still battling it out for first. 0.3 of a second, they've closed that gap up, have Glasgow yet again. What can they do? Can they make something happen?
Have a look up ahead of them, Giles. I see a car.
Oh dear, they're about to come into... It's traffic! It's traffic! I think this might be one of the first times we've seen this in the series where the front runners are coming up to the back markers, and this is where it's going to get tasty.
Now, there are no
as
blue flags.
Southampton
Staffordshire straight out of the way. Fair play, guys. Straight out of the way, off the track. Didn't want to interfere with their battle. Fair play, Staffordshire. That was really sporting.
Very gentlemanly from them. Very gentlemanly indeed. Lovely to see. Meanwhile, Cardiff dropping down the grid, having been overtaken by VIT.
I'll be intrigued
Of
to
course,
see.
you know them best as Victoria, Basque Country.
Absolutely, yes. I'll be intrigued to see what the other back markers do. Officially, for reference, guys, there are no blue flags in this series. It is up to the leaders to find a safe way past the back markers. An error from Southampton there. They're vulnerable. Here comes Glasgow down the inside, coming into the
Here
last
we
corner.
go then! They were slipstreaming, and it was a move that was always going to happen at some point, and it's happened now. A fantastic bit of inside line driving from Glasgow, taking full advantage of that mistake from Southampton, who until now have been monumental in their defence. And yet again, they're not willing to let it go as they go look to the outside, two abreast round the tight right-hander on the first corner into the second corner. It's a chicane of monumental proportions, and there's a bit of contact there, I think. Oh my days, Glasgow have managed to make that stick. The pressure just became too much for Southampton. They cracked, and through the crack, the Glaswegians snuck through to take back pole position here in Sepang. I think this could go on all race. We've still got 13 minutes of action to go in race one. 0.1 of a second between the two drivers. This is what it's all about here for Formula Student Sim Racing 2022-2023, round 4. I am on the edge of my seat here, white knuckle to the limit, and they're approaching traffic now. This is going to slow Glasgow right up, locking up there. So desperate are Southampton to get past that they sacrifice their tyres, and their tyres are going to go off even quicker if they keep flat spotting them like that. The traffic pulling out of the way for the front runners. Some really real sportsmanship from the back markers here, but at some point, dearie me, Southampton have gone well off into the gravel trap. And could that be all over for Southampton? The gap 2.5 seconds now. Could that be it? Could that have settled the score? Could that be Glasgow well away to the win? That could have decided the outcome of this race, going well off. My days. Well, the excitement here is palpable.
I mean, it's never over until the fat lady sings, Giles. But Southampton has just made it a bit difficult for themselves for that now. 2.5 second gap. Let's see if they can calm down, recompose themselves. Glasgow could have a lap. They could spin, half spin. Anything could still happen yet, but you do have to say I feel like someone's more in control of this race than the other team, but time will tell.
Yes, I think so. I also think that we can't call the singing lady fat these days. I think we have to call her big-boned. But that gap is opening up to 3 seconds between the University of Glasgow and Southampton, as Southampton went well wide into the gravel trap and quite possibly ended their hopes of winning this race after a fantastic start. Meanwhile, we're on board with Strathclyde as they hunt down the Welsh team, University of Wales, Trinity St David. The gap between them, as I have it, about half a second or just under. Yet again, it's all about piling on the pressure on the car in front. Strathclyde are in a great position because Bolton are well down the track, so they've got plenty of free tarmac behind them and only one car to get past in front of them. So there's no pressure and there's nothing much to lose for Strathclyde. This is all on Trinity St David to avoid doing what Southampton did and cracking under the pressure. As Southampton, oh my days, Strathclyde there, coming well close as they outbrake Trinity St David. Plenty of tyre smoke there as they lock up. Looking for a way round, keeping it poised and precise, just waiting for an opportunity rather than trying to make one, which is really what you want to be doing with a car as powerful as this. Closing that gap again and again through the corners, coming down the start-finish straight. This is where they really want to be making a move, because in these opening corners, this is where you can make the most of the tight circuit that is Sepang. Going round the hairpin, just that little bit of nose, just, knocking on the door, quite politely being like, I am here and I'm not going anywhere, say Strathclyde to Trinity St David. Trinity St David, I imagine, trying to avoid looking in their mirrors as Strathclyde look to the outside, round turn 1, locking up the pair of them. This is fantastic. Trinity St David defending fantastically as the pair of them battle it out through the opening corners of this track. And I think Trinity St David live to fight another day in 4th position. Some great points up for grabs here for Strathclyde and Trinity St David. Trinity St David just ahead at the moment. The gap is closing though, and eventually they are going to get that pressure is just going to crank up and up and up and up. We've got 10 minutes of racing or so left. Can they hold on to this 4th position? I'm not convinced. If Strathclyde can make another move, as good as that one and just get that little bit further ahead, I think they're going to have that position. I don't think this is going to go away anytime soon. I think Trinity St David, unless Strathclyde make a mistake, I think Trinity St David's days in fourth are numbered in this race.
We'll see. Mr. Greenwood James is a very, very good driver. This is his second season of doing it. He has sustained lots of pressure. And there we go. There goes Strathclyde straight
and there we go.
off
There's
the
the
track.
mistake. There's the mistake from
the aggressor.
Strathclyde.
The aggressor made the mistake rather than the person defending it. So nicely handled by Trinity St David indeed.
Hats off indeed to the driver from Trinity St David. Brilliant stuff. Round the hairpin they go, and Strathclyde have got it all to make up again. It's all about patience when you're the aggressor, waiting for that car in front to crack. And in this instance, they didn't crack. Great stuff from the Welsh team.
I also just have to apologise because I realised I made a massive blunder. I don't know where the hell I got Greenwood's James from. I think I've mixed up half of his names because his surname is actually Greenhill Upwards. So I do apologise once you hear the stream afterwards and you realise I got your name completely wrong. I knew who you were, but no one else would have understood what I meant by that.
And Strathclyde are reeling in Trinity St David once again. They have made up that gap very quickly. The pressure back on the Welsh team then.
And here come
Coming
the back
a little
markers.
wide there. The back markers now are going to make things just as interesting. Are they going to get out of the way as they did with the very front runners? Again, no blue flags as we've been saying. Oh, a lock up there from one of the back markers, which means that all of a sudden there's now a gap of a car between Strathclyde and Trinity St David. Trinity St David will welcome the hold-up for Strathclyde, for the Scottish team, because they've got to get past that before they can even think. Oh, dearie me, closing. That was a little bit much.
Yes.
That's the same corner.
Same
it's
corner.
the same corner.
Same corner, 2 laps in a row. So, well, okay. Well, we've seen Strathclyde closing the gap by 2 seconds already. So, they've got 4 seconds now and 7 minutes. We can see they've got undoubted pace, but closing up is one thing, trying to get past is another. We may have to come back to this battle later, Giles, just to see what happens. But yes,
I think we may have to.
That
Shall
corner.
we go through the rest of the grid and see what's going on? There's a gap of almost 4 seconds now between Glasgow and Southampton. As predicted, Glasgow have now run away with it. You're on board with the second place car, Southampton. They had an amazing start, cracked under the pressure of the Glaswegians. Glaswegians took full advantage, floored it, and they were off like a bat out of hell. There's now a gap of 3.5 seconds between those two. Can Southampton make it up in 6 minutes 30? Oh, I don't know. We'll find out. Elsewhere, on board now with Yui in bright red, looking very good there. Trinity St David in 4th, Strathclyde in 5th, as we've been talking about. Bolton up to 6th. And then, of course, it is Ion, who are University of Stavanger. I love that. I love Ion, it's a great term, isn't it? University College London in 8th. The Sond in 9th, and your top 10 is finished off with Sheffield.
They're neck and neck again, UCL and Lasson. So Lasson managed to catch up again. So
going very wide on
here we
Lasson.
go, down the inside. Lasson through. Very cheeky overtake from Lasson there. Amazing.
Blisteringly quick from the Sond. It's the commentator's curse. You start talking about it and something happens. Fantastic stuff from the Son, who are up into 8th, taking the place from the University College London, who are on track for a very good result. Getting a little bit tail happy there, sliding through the corner. A bit of torque steer from the London car.
Rounding out the top 10 here is Sheffield Hallam. Hallam? Yeah, Hallam. I think I'm saying that right.
You know as well as I do, I'm not the person to talk to about geography.
If there's anyone from the team in the YouTube commentary, please tell me if I said that right, or if I've said it wrong, please mock me. Meanwhile, it's in 11th position in the purple car. It's our highest placed hard compound runner of the race. It is the University of Portsmouth alumni team, but they're 1 minute 30 behind the leaders. In fact, they're about to be lapped, I think. That looks like Glasgow right behind them.
Oh, this is really where it starts getting exciting, because you're going to start having it where these tyres are going to go away soon. It's hot, it's sticky, and most of these drivers are running on the soft compound, and they've been unrelenting. They've not been particularly kind to their tyres because the wheel-to-wheel action has been sublime for us watching. But where are Hull? Where are Hull is what I want to know. They're down in 15th.
Yes, they're not seeming to have a very good race tonight, are they?
I was expecting them to come back about this point when the tyres started going away, because they're on the hard compound, which would explain why they seem to be so lacking compared to their previous pace in other events.
Maybe not with a nose like that. Have a look at their nose, ladies and gentlemen, and gentlemen. As we come down the straight here, as someone rejoins the track there, have a look at Hull's nose. It's literally broken off the front and it's detached. So
It looks like Concorde's about to land.
Yes, exactly. I think they've sustained quite a bit of damage somewhere in the race, and it's now damage limitation for the rest of this one. What a shame.
It's a great bit of software, is Assetto Corsa, the fact that you can replicate a race with damage. Getting a bit tail happy, sliding out there are Hull. Elsewhere up ahead, Sheffield have got ahead of University College London. University College London are off in the grass. They're Percy the park keeper now, apparently, cutting the grass for the rest of the teams. What on earth has happened to the London team? They went well off there into the green, not where they want to be. Sheffield had him, thought, I'll have that, thank you very much, and just went straight on by without a second's thought about it.
Well, that was down to turn 9 hairpin by the looks of things, so I suspect they probably went straight on at the hairpin, lost a few seconds, lost a position. At least they've come back in 10th, so at least one good thing has come out from such a far spread field is that if you've had an error, at least you can come back with minimal damage to your positions, but
yes,
at the same
indeed.
time... Go ahead, sorry.
Half the grid have been lapped. I think there's something going on between Kingston and Hull, if you have a look. 14th and 15th. There seemed to be a bit of movement on the timing sheet just a moment ago. You're on board at the moment with Kingston. And up ahead of them is VIT. Victoria, that is, of course, Basque country. Kingston in 14th. Hull behind them in 15th. I did think there was a bit of movement. I may have been mistaken, but things seem to be settling down. Half the grid laps now. 3.5, almost 4 seconds between Glasgow and Southampton. Have Glasgow got this made, barring a mistake, which we have seen happen to a number of other teams? Glasgow look to have this in the bag with 2 minutes to go in race 1 here in Sepang in Malaysia. This is round 4 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. I'm Giles Cosgrove. He's James Monty Montgomery, on board with UWR, University of Wolverhampton then.
I think they're going to be a little bit annoyed with how this race has gone with Wolverhampton, main championship protagonists, and here they are down in 20th position. Something happened to
massively
them
unexpected.
The race. Yes, absolutely. So this is probably going to be a race to forget for them. They've still got the second race to claw back. Don't forget, guys, there are 2 races tonight, 2 25-minute races. Each driver has the chance to win up to 50 points for a win in each of these races. That's potentially 100 points they can take away from tonight's round.
100 points up for grabs. Wolverhampton won't be getting many of them, by the looks of things.
No, I don't think so either. York in 21st. We've got Staffordshire.
Oh, hang on a minute. Southampton have got up into... Is that a timing sheet error of Southampton gone up into...
No, it's not. Glasgow in the pits. They're out of fuel,
Glasgow
guys.
in the
Glasgow
pits.
out of fuel.
No! Unbelievable here in Sepang as the race leaders run out of fuel
On
and
the
out
last
of
lap.
pit. I can't believe I'm seeing this. I said there could be a mistake, but I didn't see running out of fuel being one of them.
Are they going to come out in front of
jinxed
Yui?
it.
No, there goes Yui into second.
No. Yui, oh my days.
There they are.
Yui have gone through.
Now, right, it's a battle to the line then. Can Glasgow get back to second position because they're right behind? Oh, right. It's all on now,
I would not want
Giles.
to be Yui right now. I would not want to be Yui right now. We're into the final lap as University of Glasgow catastrophically ran out of fuel on the last lap and they've got 1 lap to go. Can they make up to second position? They qualified in pole. They lost out to Southampton. They made it back up. They were dominating. We thought they had it in the bag. I thought they had it in the bag. And all of a sudden, the bag went well out.
Oh, here we go.
being held up by the back markers as Glasgow look for a way round Yui, who've managed to capitalise on... And Glasgow go through. Glasgow go through. Yui goes through. The back markers getting well out of the way there, but there was nothing Yui could do to cover that. Glasgow aggressively pushing for that second position, trying to damage limit their results. Yui left in the dust now as Glasgow desperately hunt down Southampton, but it's not going to happen, chaps, as Southampton crossed the line to take the win here in Sepang.
Unbelievable. I don't think Southampton were expecting that after the way that race was going, but as I said, that fat lady hadn't sung yet, and Southampton, by sheer luck, but sometimes you need luck, managed to take the win. What about that for last lap calamity?
Lady Luck is smiling, and I'm grinning from ear to ear. The action has been sublime. That is the end of race 1. We've got a whole other race to do later, very shortly, so do stick with us as University of Glasgow crossed the line in second. They'll be gutted about that. They were pushing so hard they ran out of fuel. Yui
battle
takes
to the
third.
line, battle to the line, UWTSD
Battle to the line now.
Strathclyde.
Battle to the line for 4th. Strathclyde versus Trinity St David. Trinity St David crossed the line just to take it. My days. My days.
And here come the current championship leaders. Bolton to finish in 6th. Right behind them is Stavanger in 7th. Lassonde from Canada. Looks like they're going to come in 8th. Sheffield Hallam in 9th.
Sheffield Hallam in 9th. University College London will take 10th. As Portsmouth's alumni team in 11th.
Good grief. I wasn't expecting that for last lap, Giles. That was a little bit tasty, to say the least.
I need a moment. I need a right moment. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened.
What did I say earlier? Things happen in Formula... What was it? Things happen in Formula Students, and it usually does.
Yeah.
Things
Things happen in Formula Student. It's that sort of event.
Well,
I can't believe that just happened. I think so. We all eyes now on the second race. We've got a little tea break, a little comfort break. So do pop and use the bathroom if you need to. Go and make yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and then join us for race 2 from Sepang. If it was anything like what we've just witnessed, you're in for a hell of a treat.
Absolutely. That was fantastic to watch, wasn't it, Giles? I thoroughly entertained by that one. Just to let you know then, guys, so we've got about a 10-minute break before the next race. 10-minute break? What's the time now? 05. I beg your pardon. Yes, no, so 5-minute break. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, grab a quick refreshment, and then we're going to head straight back to the virtual Kuala Lumpur to see what's happening for this second race. I think university students are going to be doing a bit of ferocious recalculating now, aren't they, Giles?
I honestly, I need a moment to recover.
Well,
that was fantastic.
Well, pardon us then, guys, whilst we go and recover after that last lap calamity. We'll see you in 5.
And welcome back to round 4 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series from Sepang in Malaysia. It's the Sepang International Circuit. I'm Giles Cosgrove. Joining me in the commentary box is James Montgomery. We're looking ahead to round 2, race 2, I should say, of round 4. Last few seconds of free practice, and we're on board with car number 39A. It is Aaron Farmer driving for Cardiff Racing in the grey and red there, matching up with the team's colours, in reality, the black and red of the Welsh Dragon. Locking up now a little bit there from Aaron. All eyes on Aaron at the moment, who topped free practice earlier in the week, but didn't manage to actually qualify in pole. If you've just joined us, you will have missed an absolutely outstanding first race where monumentally, Glasgow ran out of fuel in first on the last lap. So gutting for the Glaswegian team, who have been looking really good all season, but just haven't quite managed to get that consistency into their results. They qualified in pole. Southampton had a better start, took them on the inside into turn 1, and it was a battle throughout. Southampton cracked the track, made a mistake. Glasgow took it back. I had the whole race written off. I looked around and said to James, I said, I don't think Southampton can come back from this unless Glasgow make a mistake. We're then looking at the midfield, and all of a sudden, Glasgow are in the pits, and they've run out of fuel.
Yep.
UE looked like they were going to finish in second, but Glasgow was so determined to make up at least one position as they hooked up with the back markers. Glasgow took it back and finished in second. Southampton were victorious in first. And myself and James, you did a bit of a lie down after all of that drama. It was one of the most exciting things we've seen all season.
Absolutely. No, it's, as we've been saying a few times, everything seems to happen in Formula Students, and it usually does. And students will be students. We thought that was all sewn up, and Southampton just demonstrating yet again why they were the champions last year. They may not always be fastest on the night, but their strategies are always there. And come the end of each round, they're just relentlessly consistent. And they just, I don't want to jinx them, but they just seem immune to those kind of incidents, don't they, Giles?
Yes, they do.
And they're there to capitalise on others' mistakes.
Indeed. It's going to be an interesting one, as because it is deadline season and exam season at the moment, not all the drivers that we've got in this series have been able to attend this event. So we've got a slightly reduced running order. Usually we run 2 servers, a top server and a bottom server, depending on where the drivers place and how fast they are. But in this instance, we are just running with a single server.
Yep.
And those drivers that are driving twice, so teams that have submitted one driver for both events, which you're not supposed to do, but those that are driving in that respect are getting half points for the second race, which we think is relatively fair given the circumstances. It's far better than what they would be getting otherwise. So
yeah, absolutely.
We're looking ahead now to race 2.
Absolutely. So for context there, guys, so each university should be entering 2 drivers for each round. So all those drivers you would have saw in the first race are no longer here. It's their teammates now taking over for the second 25-minute race. The teams who could only field 1 driver tonight, per the rules, they would be consigned to the bottom tier server. The bottom tier server, there's only a max of 25 points available there, compared to the 50 in the top tier server. So what we are doing tonight is all the 1 driver entries, there's 5 of them, they will be starting at the back of the grid in reverse order of their championship position. So whichever team is at the highest point, highest place in the championship, will be furthest back on the grid. And yes, they will be only awarded half points for this race, so that they score no more than 25 to keep it consistent with what the penalty is all about.
Indeed. Now, we were saying earlier, Wolverhampton had an absolutely cataclysmic race last time round earlier on, and according to the comments here, Bunker Project says UWR Lewis, his game crashed and was therefore a minute behind as a result. So that would explain why Wolverhampton had such a poor finish in the last race.
Good grief, that does explain a lot. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that they've had some technical issues there. Wolverhampton, I've been very impressed with how they've gone about doing their... because this is their first time in the series as well this year, and I've been very impressed with how they've gone about preparing themselves. as they've been doing well over 200 laps per driver per round in the practice server. So, yes, I know that Mr. Lewis is going to be very disappointed with what happened to him there. However, in the second race, it's a new driver for Wolverhampton for this round. They have introduced Harry Needle to the team. He will be 31D.
Oh, that's a good name.
It is, isn't it? Very pointy name. But there he is, currently sat 13th on the grid. So we'll keep an eye on him and see how he can get on. However, biggest news of all, I think, Giles. Look who's on pole.
I know. It is the University of Strathclyde.
Beautiful.
Absolutely fantastic result for the Scottish team. In second, it is race winners from race 1, Southampton. In third, the University of Glasgow Racing. In fourth, Aaron Farmer behind the wheel of the Cardiff Racing entry. Another Welsh team in fifth now. It is the University of Wales Trinity St David Bolton in sixth. And then Stavanger in seventh. University College London in eighth. In ninth, it's UWE. Le Sonde are in 10th. In 11th, it's Kingston. Hull are there in 12th. University of Wolverhampton, as we've just been talking about, Mr. Needle is there in 13th. VIT in 14th. Victoria, that is the Basque Country. UPR, that is University Portsmouth Racing, and that is their alumni team in 16th. It is TUI. Manchester are there in 7th. Staffordshire in 18th. In 19th, it's York. And finally, TAU, otherwise known as the University of Aberdeen, are there in 20th. In 21st, it's Sheffield Hallam at the back. And we go back down the grid. In 22nd, it's OUSR. The Oxford University Racing are there at the back of the grid. So starting in first, it's Strathclyde.
Yes,
very much looking forward to seeing the result of this one.
Exactly, so am I. So apologies for that confusion there, Giles. Apparently my tree only wants to show 20 drivers at once there. So yes, there are 22 cars on the grid, just to confirm, guys. But whenever we show the top 20, those bottom two seem to be hiding for whatever reason. Slightly annoying, but don't worry, Oxford. Don't worry, Sheffield Hallam. We have not forgotten about you. These are our one driver entries at the back. I definitely can't forget them. But these are our one driver entries at the back. Oxford are the highest placed driver of all the one driver entries in the championship, hence why they're starting furthest at the back.
The drivers revving their engines in anticipation of the start. Tyre setups. Is it the same again, James? Are most drivers going for that soft compound? Because it seemed to work for the first race.
It definitely seems to have. Just looking at the tree here, it looks like most of them are definitely on S. Our highest placed hard compound runner is Hole in 12th position. Lights are coming on, Giles. Ready for race 2.
Here we go then. Let's go racing again in Sepang. Round 4, race 2. Formula Student Sim Racing. We've got 6 lights. Lights out and away we go, and it's a pretty good start for Strathclyde. Southampton, yet again, can they make the same move twice in as many races? They are looking to, but Glasgow are there, making it a bit more difficult as they go into that really tight right-hander. And there's contact, and then Southampton are up into first, and Glasgow have gone through as well. And Glasgow have taken it, but Southampton are looking to... It's a repeat of last time. And Southampton and Glasgow are 2 abreast through the first 2 corners here in Sepang. Fantastic stuff! Look at this. Glasgow on the inside line. Can they make it from third to first? Yes, they can. Southampton in second. Strathclyde forced out their contact in the first corner. They're not going to like that.
There we go.
Oh, there's contact again. Southampton have gone away. Oh, my days. It's all gone wrong for Southampton. There was a bit of contact between them and Glasgow. They were sideways across the track, and now it's a multi-car pile-up. And that is going to play havoc with the running order.
Wow.
Hull
wow.
and Southampton have dropped all the way back. Hull just got caught up in that. Was nothing to do with them. A bit of a tap between Glasgow and Southampton. Southampton sideways across the track. And it is all gone Pete Tong for the... They started on the front row. They started on the front row, and now they've got it all to do for the next 25 minutes.
And I don't think they're going to go far because they've got a broken nose there, Giles, and straight off the corner they've lost their front downforce, so this is a write-off for Southampton. Commentators curse or what after what I was just talking about, their relentless consistency. I'm so sorry, guys. I have jinxed you. But back to the front. End of lap 1. It's Glasgow, Strathclyde. Fantastic. We have an old firm battle going on now, Giles. UWTSD
We do
in third,
indeed.
Bolton fourth, and your boy, Mr. Farmer, for Cardiff in fifth.
Absolutely stunning stuff. The gap between first and second is almost a second itself. Meanwhile, Aaron Farmer battling it out with Bolton, taking fourth and getting a bit sloppy and sideways through there. Some nice driving from Aaron, who's back down in fifth, but he hasn't actually lost out on a position. He was trying to get fourth from Bolton. There was a bit of contact, a bit of a lock-up, bit of torque steer, and he is now hunting down that fourth place car. Bolton are going to have the Dragon in their rearview mirror on board with Cardiff Racing. Aaron Farmer for the team there on board now with, oh dear, so I can understand that. A lot of damage sustained by a lot of teams, and some of them have pitted indeed there.
Including Southampton.
With Southampton, who, as James rightly said, had nose damage, was it, James?
Yep, nose damage. You could see they had lost all front downforce. They tried going into the corner and just went straight on there. So 55 seconds behind after the first lap. It would be very, very interesting to see what they can pull back from this, because we're going to see a lot of other cars, I suspect, spinning off. And you would expect Southampton are just going to be consistently fast from now on. Keep an eye on them. They're 22nd at the moment. Let's see where they can recover to by the end of the race.
Theory coming, but if Glasgow were to lap Southampton, bear in mind that there is no blue flag policy. Could Southampton play up in retaliation for the contact made earlier? Yui looking to make a move. Oh! That was a bit of a coming together between Yui and Aberdeen there for 10th position. Trying to get into the top 10 are Yui, hunting down through the start-finish straight.
That instant came at the perfect time to distract me from listening to your question there, Giles. Hint, hint.
Not a problem at all.
I would not like to speculate. I would not like to be held responsible for putting ideas into other people's heads, given I'm the event captain for this series.
I'm just an innocent bystander.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
Cardiff are off!
On board with Bolton, Cardiff are off, tumbling down the running order, gutting for the Welsh team, who were in 5th. They're now in 7th. Calamity for Aaron Farmer there.
I suspect there was contact there, Giles. I suspect there was contact there because, yeah, absolutely, because you don't really spin off there. That's the straight before the corner, so unless he had a lapse of concentration and hit the grass somewhere, we'll find out after this race.
Made it past Wolverhampton now, on board with Kingston at the moment, as they've just got past York. According to the comments I'm getting, Bolton made contact with Cardiff, hence the drop in positions there. On board with Kingston at the moment. York behind them in pink, looking very pretty in pink, as the Psychedelic First said. Sheffield Hallam have got past Staffordshire, up at the moment with University College London as they hunt down Bolton. Behind them, Lassonde, and then in a sorry 7th, it's Cardiff, who came into contact with Bolton and will be gutted about that. So here's Aberdeen then. There's a fair old battle going on in the midfield there. Yui up ahead of Wolverhampton. Then it's Aberdeen, followed by Kingston and York. They're all bunching together. Aberdeen looking to try and get past Wolverhampton then, who have definitely made a better go of it than they did last race. Luckily, no technical issues for the Wolverhampton team. Locking up there is Yui. So can Aberdeen and Wolverhampton close in on Yui, who might be struggling?
It's a bit early in the race for the tyres to be struggling, but if they've been flat spotting them, Giles, then yeah, this could be a very, very long race for those drivers if they've already screwed over their tyres.
These cars are high precision machines, and they're rather delicate to balance, to say the least. Aberdeen then attempting to get through. There we are. Meanwhile, it's Oxford University who've all made it up to 15th. From starting in last. We were saying earlier they are the fastest of the one driver entries, and clearly that driver is putting it to great use, up into 15th from last and hunting down Manchester University, going a little wide there, trying to find a way past the Mancunian team as they close the gap. Oxford University then.
Impressive to see what Oxford are doing, given that they are on the hardest of compounds here. As I say that, Sheffield go up the inside. Very cheeky move from Sheffield there. Very nicely done.
Sneaking on through. We were all expecting. That is just fantastic driving there from Sheffield.
I think I'm going to stop giving people compliments. Every time I do that, something bad happens to them immediately afterwards, Giles.
We do seem to be jinxing everybody. Meanwhile, University of Strathclyde are down in second and first, ahead by 2 seconds. It's the University of Glasgow that's already coming past. Is that coming past traffic, or is that just a 2-second gap there?
No, that is coming past traffic. I'm trying to work out which of the lapped drivers that is. Actually, that is that is definitely not Team 6. So I'm looking at the live timing here, and that's telling me that's 6 behind them, but that does... Oh, it is 6, I beg your pardon. Yes, that's Hull that they've just lapped then. So Hull are having an evening to forget, frankly, aren't they?
They really are. Not good for the northern team, but looking further north, locking up a little bit there, but nonetheless still maintaining that lead of 2.5 seconds. It is University of Glasgow who will be desperate to get a win after that gutting result in race 1 here in Sepang. Meanwhile, plenty going on in the midfield. Cardiff back up into 5th. They'll be determined to make that up. And oh dearie me, what's happened to Wolverhampton? They're cutting the grass. Percy the park keeper has arrived.
Well, that's one way of earning your keep, I guess. That's a shame.
I guess indeed. I did think they were going to have a better race, but I mean, hey, it's still not last, but certainly not the weekend that Wolverhampton would have been hoping for. Up ahead of them is Kingston, but behind them, looking rather devilish in the background, is Sheffield Hallam. Closing that gap then. Oh, could this be a take? Could this be a moment? Looking to the outside, looking to the inside. Wolverhampton defending fantastically from Sheffield Hallam as they close the gap on the team. Heading down the start-finish straight. Weaving about a bit are Sheffield Hallam, trying to find a way past Wolverhampton. Are they going to find a way? Here we go then, round that tight hairpin, looking for the inside line. They want to be swapping round now, because that first corner is a right-hander. Just about managed to hold on there.
No.
Looking a little bit twitchy.
Yep, no, tank slapper there for Sheffield Hallam, so they've lost the momentum there. Wolverhampton live for another day in 11th position. I'm just thinking about this. What a first combination to start when you're representing your team for the first time. Harry Needle, first time representing Wolverhampton this evening. Don't start with the MX-5s or anything like his colleagues have so far this season. Let's start with a 1,000 horsepower Formula Hybrid car.
See, I couldn't even do it. Wolverhampton then. Yeah, they've made that stick now.
Nicely done, Sheffield. That's them up to 11th position.
Sheffield Hallam past the Wolverhampton team. Harry Needle's first time representing, as we were saying, it's a great point. I couldn't do it. We're on board meanwhile with, is that
Southampton? Southampton up to 14.
I do apologise. Southampton have made it up to 14th.
Now, this is very impressive to have been watching them because they've clawed back, and that was basically a pocket of traffic there, who were probably about 15 seconds behind the next group. So Southampton have cleared them so quickly, but as you can see, 10 seconds now to the next car in front of them, TU Ilmanu, the German university. So let's see how quickly Southampton can close up onto them.
They got a 10-second gap to make up. They're looking absolutely spotless through here. Look at the driving from Southampton, kissing the apex at every turn. The racing line is perfect. They are right where they need to be, except in terms of the position, because they don't want to be in 14th. But across the track, they are making it look easy, and these cars are anything but easy. I mean, if you were to put me behind the wheel of that, it would look more like Mario Kart. Locking up a little bit around that hairpin, down the start-finish straight they go. The gap down to 9 seconds already.
Goodness. So Ilmanu's last lap was a 140.8. Southampton have just done a 34.5. That was 6 seconds they've closed in one lap, Giles.
My days. I'm just going off the time. I've only got one screen, so I'm going off the timing board on the left of your screen that you're watching now. If you're watching the stream with us, James has got the actual lap times, and as James has just said, Southampton are just in a league of their own, in an absolute league of their own. Having said that, they're also well down the grid. It's just the way these things go.
I was going to say.
Look at the.
Go on, sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I wouldn't exactly call it a league of their own in 14th position. This team, I would say, are in a league of their own at the moment. They're leading by 3.5 seconds from their fellow citymen, Strathclyde and UWTSD in 3rd position.
But having said that, compare the lap times for me between Glasgow and Southampton. Obviously, there's 13 cars between them, but just out of interest, where are they lapping? Like, just in terms of pure lap times.
Well, it's interesting to see because Glasgow's last lap time was a 35.1, so Southampton were about half a second quick on that last lap. However, Glasgow were lapping at 34.2. They currently have the fastest lap of the race so far with a 134.2. So I get the feeling Glasgow are just cruising at the moment. They don't need to push. They've got this race under control. So they have about an extra second in storage if they need to use it. But Southampton definitely needs to get the foot down to try and claw up some places. Meanwhile, on the timing, something's happened to Cardiff. They've gone back down to 6th.
Cardiff down into 6th. University College London going wide then. They tried to make a move, and Cardiff have got it as well. A real tank slapper for Cardiff, and they lock up and completely lose the rear end.
Ooh, jeez.
Oh,
that was a serious weave.
Gutting.
Yep, that was a bit of a brown
Cardiff.
trouser moment there for UWE as Cardiff rejoins on the exit of the corner there. Very quick reaction from UWE to avoid a massive accident from happening there, because that is a very, very fast and blind corner to go through to find a car parked in your racing line.
The Son taking advantage of Cardiff's calamity. Cardiff down now in 9th as Kingston go through as well. It's all gone wrong for who was predicted to be one of the front runners in this race, Aaron Farmer, who had timed so incredibly well in free practice earlier this week. Started in the top 5 on the grid at lights out, but down in 9th now. Meanwhile,
I have to apologise, we were so busy looking at that.
Overtaken.
Yep, we were so busy looking at that, we didn't see Southampton, never mind them passing Ilmanu, they've already passed Wolverhampton as well now. That's 12th position for them, Giles.
Are we going to see Southampton versus Cardiff before the end of this race?
If Farmer keeps spinning off, then maybe, but you have to hedge your bets. Who reckons in the chat, do we think we're going to see Southampton in the top 10 before this race is done?
Aaron Farmer making up the positions up into 8th now as he tries to recover from what has been a particularly unpleasant race for someone who seemed to be in total control of the car earlier this week. Lassonde up ahead, 3 seconds between them. It'll be the battle for 7th. In 6th, it's UE. UCL in 5th. In 4th, it's Bolton. In 3rd, University of Wales, Trinity St David, a Welsh team having a far better time than Cardiff. In 2nd, USM. And that is, of course, Strathclyde. And in 1st, a league of their own, University of Glasgow. Meanwhile, you're on board with Ion as they attempt to get past Vitoria, the Basque Country, looking round the outside. Oh, bit of contact there. Vitoria have got the better line in, but I think they've just squeezed out Ion. Oh, and they've lost it. Ion have lost it completely, locking up and well away into the grass. From what was going to be a fantastic move, back to grass cutting for the University of Stavanger. On board then with Staffordshire, meanwhile, as they've got Stavanger ahead of them. Stavanger going wide again, well off and into the barriers they go. Stavanger have just completely, in fact, that's a DNF. That's a DNF for Stavanger, I believe.
Not sure if that was Stavanger or Staffordshire. I think that may have been Staffordshire that have fallen off there.
Whoops-a-daisy, I do apologise. I saw DNF and so many teams beginning with St. I lost it. Meanwhile, Sheffield Hallam are under pressure here in 11th.
It's the championship, the reigning champions,
Southampton
up to 11th.
Southampton pressurising Aberdeen and Sheffield Hallam, I should say. Aberdeen are up ahead in 10th. In 11th is Sheffield Hallam. Not for much longer by the looks of things as Southampton squeezing through on the inside. Absolutely superb driving from the competition leaders. Southampton up into 11th. They've got 8 minutes to make it into the top 10. It looks very much possible. There's a second or so between the two teams. There's a 5-second gap ahead to Aberdeen in 10th. Southampton have shown they can make that up with ease. It is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Just look at this, kissing the apex every single time. Precision driving from the Southampton team. No wonder they're doing so well. Cardiff up into 7th meanwhile.
Just moving back
trying
on
to make a recovery.
Just looking at
Southampton,
Southampton's progress again. So just for statistically speaking, I reckon it's going to be next lap that they'll be on the back of Aberdeen. Aberdeen's last lap was a 1:40.0. Southampton's last lap was a 1:34.3. 6-second difference.
Locking up a little bit from Southampton,
In
but to
fact,
be fair, when the driver's in this much control...
That's them right ahead, Giles.
Here we go then. James, in this instance, your prediction is completely on point. Aberdeen are going to be looking in their rearview mirrors very shortly, and it's going to be filled with Southampton, who will show no mercy as they attempt to recover from what should have been an absolutely dominant race. They were up into first, and then the drama between them and Glasgow yet again. There was a bit of contact, and all of a sudden Southampton were all the way down the grid. A broken nose and a pit stop later. They started their recovery drive. We've got 7.5 minutes of racing left as Southampton attempt to claw their way back into the top 10. It seems very likely. Just look at the way they're driving. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you look at some of the other teams, they're going wide in places. They're losing the tail. But Southampton have just been clinical in their approach to this drive as they bear down the barrel of Aberdeen's rear end. Now they're right there as they look for a way past the Scottish team. Can they find a gap? Looking to the inside a little bit there, trying to find a way. Oh no! And I've jinxed it for them. I was saying they seem to be so precise and clean with no issues whatsoever, and then they completely lose it.
And he's gone and lost it again for good measure. Oh,
into the gravel trap. Southampton, all that progress, and they're now back down in 12th. They're going to do it all again, get past Sheffield Hallam, and then make up that gap to Aberdeen. The gap there, about 6 seconds to Aberdeen. It was about a tenth of a second.
I'll tell you now,
and
has
Wolverhampton are having a look.
Yep, Wolverhampton going to have a sniff at 12th there. Southampton now, not only have they spun off, they have cooked their tyres after that, so they're going to give them half a lap just to get those rears cool enough again to apply some traction, and they can get going again.
Can Wolverhampton take advantage of this mishap from Southampton, barreling down the start-finish straight towards that tight right-hander? Southampton seem to be pulling away from Wolverhampton as they hunt down Sheffield Hallam, and they've got to do it all over again. Aaron Farmer in 6th now, having overtaken Ewie. Meanwhile, on board with the University of Portsmouth alumni team as they go off into the gravel trap. We thought they were going to make a move on Manchester, and instead they just managed to ruin it for themselves. Coming past the back markers there.
That's not a back marker, Giles. That's
no, it is not.
That's Oxford. Beg your pardon. That was for position. That was.
Oxford, there was no defence from Oxford at all. It was just like a drive-by.
Yeah, it looked like Oxford were just coming back onto the track, so they must have spun off on that right-hander as well.
Oxford then will be determined to make up for that mistake as they barrel down the start-finish straight. There's not much separating Portsmouth and Oxford University then. Oxford University, a little bit wide there, but then again, UPR locking up.
This is getting very confusing to follow now. I do apologise, guys. So that was actually Bolton lapping Oxford there for 4th position. They're running similar colour schemes today. So no, that is Bolton just making their way, picking through the traffic and lapping them.
Right.
So I believe this is Portsmouth alumni just in front of them now, and Manchester in front of them. So very, very busy. Ooh, had to back out that one. Had to back out that one, the championship leaders.
There we go then.
Oh, this is
Bolton
messy. This is messy.
Looking all on the grass. They've managed to make that work, but that could have been very costly for Bolton. And there goes UPR just locking away there.
There was nearly a kind regards there for Bolton.
Flat spotting their tyres, no doubt. Hull, meanwhile, down in 20th.
Yes, Hull having an evening to forget. One of our championship protagonists down in last for the first race, 20th for the second one. I get the feeling, Giles, this is going to be their drop round.
I think it might well be.
Then again,
Bolton pulling away then from the back markers. "16 seconds. That is the gap between Glasgow and Strathclyde now. On board with Sheffield Hallam. Aberdeen up ahead of them by 2 seconds, and then behind them Kingston. Southampton have been overtaken by Kingston then. What's happened to Southampton, who were just looking so strong, and yet the mistake happened, and it's all to make up again. Gutting for Southampton.
And with just 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go of this race, it's you feel like they've lost the wind in their sails, haven't they, Giles? They've lost that pace now.
I do think so. Cardiff and UWE have both gone past University College London, so it looks to me like University College London have made a mistake, gone off there, and the two teams have taken advantage of that. Cardiff now then back up into 5th. They'll want to make up that position, but there's a whole 15 seconds before they could even think about making a move on Bolton, and they've got 2.5 minutes to do it in. I don't think it's possible. You're on board with Southampton as they hunt down Kingston, Sheffield Hallam, and then Aberdeen to try and claw back into the top 10 that they so desperately want to be in. Oh no, there it is. UPR sideways on the exit of one of the turns, not where you want to be stopped at all, and they're tumbling down the running order. They're in 19th now.
Yeah, that was a bit of a wake-up call, because a couple of those drivers in front were lapping him there, so you don't expect to see a car parked on the exit of a corner, really. That's the racing line, so hopefully they knew about the virtual yellow flags waiting for those double right-handers.
Not particularly ideal for the drivers involved there. I imagine a lot of these offs are to do with the tyres having been well and truly cooked. Sheffield Hallam then. There's not that much between them and Aberdeen in front. Can Aberdeen hold them off? If they can get a good couple of corners in, Sheffield Hallam will have this. Well, we'll certainly be able to try and make a move as they head on down the final straight. There's a left-hand hairpin to go, and then they're right back on to what will be one of their last laps. They're approaching now. They're out-dragging them. They look to the inside. Can they make a move? Sheffield Hallam locking up. Not quite. Aberdeen holding on to 9th position. Down the start-finish straight. Upcoming, we've got that really tight right-hander that is turn 1, and then following a very sharp left-hander. Look, out, dragging them. Go, Sheffield Hallam. This time, can they make it stick? They've got the inside line. They take it. A little bit of a lock-up. They've got the inside line. I think they've made that work. They have indeed. Sheffield Hallam up into 9th. Aberdeen dropping away into 10th.
Nice clinical move there from Sheffield Hallam. Great drag from the back of the grid. Bearing in mind they were 21st on the grid as well, into a top 10 position now. That's fantastic to see.
Aberdeen, though, not willing to give up the fight. The gap is noticeably short. Ion, meanwhile, have had a bit of a calamity there. They are just, well, they've just got back onto the track.
Oh, look, Southampton are back up to 11th now, Giles. Let's see if they can get a top 10 this time.
Southampton have got past Kingston. Now they've got to get past Aberdeen. They were trying to get past Aberdeen earlier when it all went wrong. Aberdeen looking a little bit wiry there. The tail kicking out, and Southampton thought, I'll have a bit of that. Thank you very much. Good night. They're away, and Southampton are in the top 10 with 20 seconds to go here for round 4 of Formula Student Sim Racing 2023. Oh, excellent recovery drive from Southampton.
Absolutely. Southampton's tyres must have cooled down again. Their last lap was a 1:35, so as they come to start their final lap now, let's see how many more positions they can pick off. There's 2 more cars.
Hang on a minute, though. Southampton have got into 9th, tumbling away down the grid then. Cardiff, all the way down to 12th. What is in the pits of Cardiff?
I smell
Cardiff
a fuel. I smell a fuel issue. And as this all happens, Giles, here comes Glasgow around the last corner now. They've made it. They've got enough fuel this time.
They've made it. And they've absolutely dominated 50 Shades of Glasgow as they take the checkered flag and win race 2 of the round 4 Formula Student Sim Racing 2023 here in Sepang. Absolutely stunning drive, dominant throughout. But do bear in mind, these results are preliminary and they are open to the complaint. Strathclyde then taking 2nd place. University of Wales Trinity St David coming up behind them through the final corner to finish the podium for the 2nd race as they take 3rd. Bolton in 4th. UWE have gone. University of College London have got past UWE.
Oh, it's a battle for the line, Giles.
It's a battle for the line indeed as UWE get back.
No.
UWE have gone away. They've lost it. That's it. They're not going to be able to make that up in time. They've only got 2 corners left. In fact, they've got 1 corner left now.
No, I don't know, because these back markers are in their own battle as well, Giles. They could interfere.
This could be really interesting. University College London have managed to get past UWE, but there's traffic ahead of them. And can they see take it stick. This is a battle for the line.
No, UCL held on to that.
UCL have got it.
Nice. 5th position for UCL. Amazing job from them. UE in 6th. Lassonde in 7th. Southampton, great recovery drive, up to 8th position. And also in their own right,
Aberdeen.
look at that. Aberdeen holding on to 9th.
Aberdeen in 9th. Kingston in 10th. Sheffield Hallam in 11th. Wolverhampton in 12th. TU Ilmenau in 13th. In 14th is Victoria, the Basque Country. In 16th, Manchester. In 17th, it is Oxford University Racing. Hull in 18th. And then Cardiff. Absolute disaster for Cardiff in 19th. I've just had a message through from Aaron. I don't even know. Absolutely gutting for Cardiff, who were on track for a really strong race. And in fact, it's not been the case. Ran out of fuel indeed, confirmed then for Cardiff. Should have been fine apparently, but it wasn't.
Well, there we go. What an amazing way to end that. 2 fuel calamities in tonight's races.
There's many races.
Yeah, you would have expected that. Amazing recovery drive from Southampton, but I have to say some unusual names in there. Strathclyde in 2nd. UCL, amazing job in 5th as well for them. UE as well, a better race for them. Lassonde as well, our Canadian university taking part in 7th. And Aberdeen, I have to say, given that they've not had a chance to be in the top server all season, and they've turned up and they've made the most of this, and they finished 9th.
It's been great to see Aberdeen up there, dicing with the best of them. The battle between them and Southampton throughout was really enjoyable. Lively to see a Welsh team in the top 3. University Welsh Trinity St David, the last podium position, taking 3rd there. I've absolutely loved that. Are we going to get an opportunity to catch up with the drivers, James?
I believe that's what's going to be happening now, guys. So stick around. We're going to go for a 5-minute break. I'm going to go and grab our race winners from race 1 and race 2. We're going to come back, have a chat with them, and it's Southampton and Glasgow yet again that we're interviewing, Giles. It's the usual protagonist. Every time, so much calamity, but it's always the usual protagonist at the top. It's fantastic to see. So stick around, guys. Give us 5 minutes. We're going to come back with some drivers for interviewing and see what they thought of today's races.
A very good evening and welcome back to coverage of round 4 of the Formula Student Online Sim Racing Championship. I'm Giles Cosgrove, he's James Montgomery, and what a load of racing we've had tonight, eh? It has been absolute wall-to-wall action from beginning to end. We've had 2 races, 2 different winners, and we're going to be catching up with them now. So, from the University of Southampton, I'm very happy to welcome Sandy.
Hello.
Sir.
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm over the moon with the action that I've been able to talk about on track today because it's just been an absolute pleasure. So, talk me through that result for you in race 1. You came out victorious, but it didn't look like it was always going to be the way.
Yeah, it was a bit interesting. So, the start, well, before the round started, I did a few practice starts. I was thinking, how am I going to modulate the throttle off the line, etc. And I think I just about nailed it. Managed to get down the inside of him and pushed him a little bit wide, and then I just drove off for a bit. But then I was a little bit inconsistent, I think. And then he started to catch up with me, and then I made a small mistake, and then he got the slipstream and got past. And then going past some back markers, I kind of lost focus. My front left was overheating. And then I went off on, is it the second to last corner? Yeah, second to last corner. And then I kept trying to chase him. The gap was roughly consistent. And then at the end, he ran out of fuel, so then I got past him.
So, do you reckon, had he not run out of fuel, do you reckon you still would have made the pass and still claimed the victory?
No.
Or
No.
were you a bit lucky?
I was a little bit lucky, yeah. But then I guess if I hadn't made the mistake, I would have been, I think, probably within a second of him or something, maybe. It's kind of how it goes.
Easy come, easy go.
Yeah, it's
So
it's
your
luck
strategy,
sometimes.
your strategy for the start, because it was an absolutely spellbinding start. It was genuinely stunning. I was amazed by that. It was textbook. What was the strategy behind that? What was the thinking? How did you come up with? How did you know exactly what to do? Because it played out like you'd written it.
Well, it's just, as I said, I did a few practice starts beforehand. It was just a case of I want to get to the inside, because in the past few rounds I've kind of been on the outside, and I've always had a little bit of incidents at the start, been hit, and I was like, right, if I get to the inside, when people crash off, they're going to go on the outside. But also if I'm on the inside, I can kind of push him out a little bit, and he kind of let me through, I think, a little bit, so just to give me space, because he didn't know if I was going to punt him off as well. So yeah, it was just kind of where the space is, I went for it, to be honest. So, and when he was following me, I could see him. I wasn't sure if he was going to dive me, but I think I can tell he's obviously very good at it. So I maybe give him a little bit less room than I would some other drivers. But yeah, I know he can be respectful in racing, so it's quite fun. Also, he's very quick.
Yes, you're all absolutely astonishing, and that race was wall-to-wall action from lights out to the checkered flag. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Sandeep. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your win. Very best of luck for the rest of the season. But let's not forget, we've had 2 races tonight, and our winner of race number 2 was Jack from University of Glasgow Racing, rocking the Mansell there nicely, and the kit as well. Loving that. UGR represent. Jack, how are you feeling about that?
I'm not sure we expected to be able to win. I think for our previous race with Ibra's pace, we always expect him. But with how the gap in quality between us and Strathclyde, I was not expecting a win, so very happy to take it.
And your fuel strategy must have changed between the 2 races, clearly, given the results that you had in the first race. Having said that, in fairness, you're not the only driver to have struggled with fuel. Cardiff also went out towards the end, having lost their fuel tank. How did that feel? I imagine you're probably running with a heavier tank, so how did that compromise your strategy going into the race?
We were playing it safe after that happened. We wanted to avoid what happened to Ibra, because we do all these setup checks in the race, check our tyre wear, all these things, but you'd think we'd be able to check how much fuel we need. So when it got to it, we just cranked up the fuel for my load and made sure we were going to be safe. And thank God, I think I had 2 laps to spare, I could have gone on for much longer.
2 laps is that all that was left in the tank? 2 laps.
Yeah, for me. Well, that's quite a safe margin normally.
Right. Well, thank goodness for that. Fantastic stuff from you. You dominated from start to finish. It was just a great drive. Was there a particular approach, or was it very much just a question of getting into the groove and focusing on, keeping to the apexes, clean driving?
I think at the start it was very hectic. We had that battle with Strath and Southampton, and we had the collision with Southampton, and I just locked the brakes and hoped that the car would stay the right way pointing, and thankfully it did. And then right at the start, I think Strath definitely had the better pace, and they were closing in on me. And I think it was just little mistakes crept in for them, and slowly the gap built and my confidence grew, and I was able to just bump in the lap times. Very nice.
Well, it was an excellent gap to finish with. It was a dominant drive once you'd got into that groove. And congratulations on your win. Thank you very much for joining us here in the commentary box. Jack, very best of luck with the rest of the season. That's Jack from University of Glasgow Racing, the winner of race 2 at Sepang, round 4 of the racing heats here. And meanwhile, here he is, the man himself. It's Monty. What do you reckon of that then?
I'm still trying to process it, if I'm going to be honest. That was a lot to take in tonight. We knew it was going to be fast-paced because of, just because of how quick the cars were. But I was definitely not anticipating on teams running out of fuel. I was definitely not expecting it to happen twice. So what a calamity that was, eh?
Absolute calamity. But I would also say the drama in the opening laps of race 2, especially between Southampton and Glasgow, wasn't exactly expected, especially because obviously they're the 2 front runners. You'd have expected drama maybe further down the field, but I'll be interested to see what Southampton make of that. We've heard Glasgow's interpretation. I'll be interested to know what Southampton make of that. But having said all of the above, it was still absolutely fantastic racing throughout the evening tonight.
It was really great to watch. I mean, to be fair, Glasgow and Southampton have shown great respect for each other throughout the series, so I'd be very surprised if any of that was a genuine issue and it's just literal miscommunication.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
First lap, heat of the moment type thing. It's just sorry, Southampton, that I jinxed you after singing your praises during the break. It has, however, though, Giles, turned the championship on its head because the team have just updated the points for me, and we've got some new stats to go and follow up with people. So shall we show
Let's
them?
go and look at these stats, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's go and show you guys provision. Actually, before we go and do the standings, let's go and do the results first, because I think actually we want to know who has won this round. Because that's 2 races, 100 points up for grabs, and a lot to play for. So let's swap over windows now. Hopefully on your screens now you will be able to see that Glasgow were our winners of round 4. Congratulations, 98 out of 100 points scored by them. Actually, it's been a great day for Scotland, because look at that, Strathclyde in second on 84 points. Southampton, even with all the calamities in that second race, still managed to come out of this round third on 82 points. Tied with University of Wales Trinity St David. Fair play to them. Actually, it was quite close in the top 5, because even UWE came 5th there. York, that's Lasson's University, by the way. Great showing from the Canadian team there to finish 6th. Tied with UCL. Them two have had an absolute fantastic evening of racing. Sheffield Hallam, given that they were starting from the back of the grid in the second race as well. 56 points to bring them in 8th. University of Aberdeen as well. Look at that. 55 points for them, and they are finishing at 9th position. What a way to introduce themselves to the sim racing series, eh?
Absolutely stunning stuff. I must say, the result for Strathclyde is great to see. 2 Scottish teams taking 1st and 2nd in the event today. Stavanger in 10th with 54 points, with 50 points in 11th. It was Kingston University who seemed to keep quiet during both races, just quietly carrying on reaping in the points, but they've done relatively well within the standings. In 12th, it was the University of the Basque Country with 42 points. In 13th, the alumni from the University of Portsmouth with 42 points as well. In 14th, with 41 points.
I'm not actually believing these results, actually, because look, Bolton are down in 15th and they came 4th and 6th. I think we've got a miscalculation going on here, Giles, so perhaps take these results with a massive handful of salt at the moment, as I just find out what's happening here, because Bolton should definitely not be 15th after a 4th and 6th position. So bear with us 2 minutes, guys, whilst we just find out what's happening in the admin team in the background, and hopefully I'll be able to press F5 in about 90 seconds time, and we'll have an updated result sheets for everyone.
Meanwhile, if you want to go back to cams on yourself and I, James, we can talk about our favourite drivers of the day, because we've had some proper wheel-to-wheel racing throughout. It's been stunning, and there have been some really great drives across the field. Let's not forget that although we've been focusing on the top of the grid with the winners, Southampton and Glasgow, across the weekend, we've had great drives from various teams throughout the placements. So, yeah. Who would your pick of the drivers be this weekend?
I think Glasgow have yet again shown why they're the reigning Formula Student champions in Formula Student properly. They've taken their preparation level to just so high now in everything they do. They take it seriously. They've come into these races. They want Southampton to be scared of them because they are the new faces for the season. And they've shown since race 1, actually, that they've got undoubted pace. And it's great to see them utilising that in such a great way that the results are coming in now. I think we're in for a really interesting second half of the season, because for me, that was the standout. Though, as I say, Strathclyde and Aberdeen, UCL, I was individually impressed with all of them as well. Typically, we see them in the bottom half of the field, but fair play to them. These are very, very difficult cars to master, and it's played to their strengths.
Yes.
La Sonde as well. These are all teams we're normally used to seeing in the bottom half of the field, and they've all had a great day out there, and perhaps those who we knew were faster than them spun off. And whilst it's great to have that single lap pace, it mattered most in the race. They kept on the black stuff, and hopefully they're going to have a nice a nice stash of points as their reward once they come out of here. What about you? Who's your team of the day?
So my team of the day would have to be the University of Aberdeen, because they've been absolutely stunning in the sense that, as you were just saying, they don't tend to appear, especially with us, because obviously there are 2 races going on, as usually when we're presenting, and I only ever get to watch one, and Aberdeen are usually in tier 2, and I haven't been able to talk about them, but they came into this one and absolutely owned it. They took the opportunity with both hands, grabbed hold of it, and then they didn't let go. They got a really nice haul of points, showed some fantastic driving in cars that are incredibly difficult to be driving. And I would hats off to the University of Aberdeen. Great job. Also, Harry making his debut in a Formula hybrid car. That is no mean feat. So also a big shout out to Harry as well.
Yeah, no, I would fully agree on that one. There were definitely some new faces here tonight. Great to see them on board. Sorry you had such a steep learning curve, but I hope you enjoyed the experience, and we'll see you in for the future races. Okay, Giles, we now have a refreshed spreadsheet.
Hey.
It hasn't really changed much at the top, though. It's just obviously, as we move the window over to it now, so quite rightly, Glasgow, there they are, still the winners with Strathclyde second, Southampton third, tied with winner, Wales Trinity St David. There's the University of Bolton in P6 on 76 points. Apologies for that mini heart attack there, guys. So York, La Sonde in 7th, UCL in 8th, Sheffield Hallam in 9th, and Aberdeen still, after all this recalculating, 10th position. Well done, guys. That was a thorough drive from you guys this weekend. What does this do for the standings, though? This is where it gets really tasty. Look at that 1 point between Bolton and Glasgow at the top. Southampton, though, even after all of that which happened tonight, they're still only 9 points behind Bolton. So it very much is a three-way at the top now, because after that really poor race for by Wolverhampton's standards, they're now 60 points behind Southampton, 70 points behind the leaders there. They're going to need some good luck, I think, in the remaining rounds to try and claw their way back into that. But, I mean, with 100 points for a round, and there's only 9 points splitting the top three, this is going to be tight.
It is all to play for. Meanwhile, in fifth, University of Wales, Trinity St David, flying the flag for the Welsh with 256 points in fifth position. University of West of England, UWE, are there in sixth with 248. With 238 is University of Hull in seventh. In eighth, they did remarkably well this weekend, and they've just gone to show it in the standings overall. They're in eighth now. They are the University of Strathclyde with 234. In ninth, it's the University of Salford with 194 points. Also with 194 points, it's the University of Stavanger. Cardiff University, after what should have been a great weekend for them, it just didn't happen. And they're there in 11th with 178. With 161, Coventry are there in 12th. University of the Basque Country are there with 160 in 13th. TU Ilmanu, 157 in 14th. Kingston University with 154 are in 15th. In 16th, it's York University with 153. The alumni of the University of Portsmouth have got 149. They're in 17th. Obuda University, surprisingly, they keep coming up a lot, but they're all the way back down in 18th with 148 points. In 139 points, it's Universidad de Leon. They're in 19th. UCL, University College London, they did pretty well this weekend, but they're down in 20th with 137 points, rounding out the top 20 in the standings for the series this year as things go at the moment. 4 rounds to come, 400 points up for grabs in total. This ain't over. It is all to play for.
Yep, no, I fully agree on that one as well. Obuda, I expect to see them come up again in the next race. They weren't present tonight. Ditto Coventry, so once they rake up their points, and probably would use this as their drop round, we'll probably see them bump up a few more places. UCL, I think, would be pleased to get themselves into the top 20 now, given that there are 46 universities in total taking part in the series. Hopefully, next month, exam season's going to be out of the way, so more students can come and play. Normal service will resume from there. We've got a cracking combination coming up as well, guys. It's classic touring cars at Goodwood. So make sure that it's going to be fantastic to see. So, guys, 4 weeks' time, usual time, 7:15. We're going to be doing it all over again and going from modern Formula cars to classic touring cars at a classic circuit. I'm excited. You excited, Giles?
I think the expression on my face says it all, James. So thank you so much to everybody for joining us. I've been Giles Cosgrove. He's been James Montgomery. This has been round 4 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series, bringing you Formula Hybrid action from Sepang. It's been wheel-to-wheel action. You can watch back all of the coverage right here on YouTube. Do let us know your predictions for the rest of the season. Can't wait for the next race. That will be Goodwood, with the World Touring Car Classic cars coming to you next month. So please join us for that. But for now, we'll say goodbye and have a great weekend. Thank you and good night.
Take care.